Well, hey there, welcome back to A Shelf Indulgent Reader. I'm Barbara Goby, and in this video, I'm going to go through my April reading wrap-up. Now, in the month of April, I read 12 books, and I'm going to go through the books kind of in order of the way I read them, but I'm going to save the best for last. So the first book I read was Redeeming Six. This is the fourth book in the Boys of Tommen series, and it's a thick book, and it's so emotionally devastating, but I love this series so much. I need to take a break after reading the first four books and read something else for a little bit because it really is very emotional, but I love this series. It's so fantastic. Then I did the tandem read of Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms, and this is book 5 and 6 in the Throne of Glass series because Sarah J. Maas announced that she's got more books coming out, so I'm really trying to get through this series, and these are also kind of chunker books. Now, they recommend reading these in tandem because they are these stories take place at the same timeline but in different parts of the continent. So if you read one, you kind of have spoilers for the other because things are happening kind of simultaneously. People also say that if you read them in publishing order, this one was published before this one, and this one ends on a really big cliffhanger. So before you get to the resolution of that in book 7, you would then have to go back and read all of this. So by reading them in tandem, you kind of have a different experience, and I kind of went through and tabbed every time I'm supposed to switch chapters. You can go and download the reading order because you read a couple chapters of this one and then a couple of that one. You kind of go back and forth, but you can find that reading order online. But then I just found these books are just so big and clunky that it was easier for me to just get them on my Kindle and read them that way. So it was a project, and I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I can move on now, and I'm anxious to read the last book in the series, which is Kingdom of Ash. It's very highly rated. People absolutely love it. Then I read an ARC of Finding Grace, and I loved it so much I went out and bought a copy of it. And in this book, you're following, what is her name? Oh, it's been a while. Honor. And she has a child, and but she wants another one, and so she is having trouble conceiving another baby. So she and her husband are using a donor egg and a surrogate, and they go through all this process, and then something really devastating happens, and the husband has to make some difficult decisions, and some of those choices that he makes come back to kind of haunt him. And it was a really fantastic book. I really loved this. Recommended it to my sister. She ran out and bought it as well. But I really can't go into much because it's so spoilery, but it's one of those books, just go in blindly, read it, and you'll devour it like I did. Then after reading all of these very heavy books and very big books, I wanted to go in and read some light, shorter books. So the first one I read, I think, was this one, Vigil, by George Saunders. And if you've read Lincoln on the Bardo by George Saunders, this is kind of more of that premise. And in this, we're following Jill Dalblaine. And she is in the afterlife, and she helps people cross into the afterlife. And she's done this over 300 times, where she comes down to earth and she helps people in their final moments as they cross over. Well, when she comes down, the charge that she's assigned to is not a good man. He is an oil magnate, and he's done some very unethical things. And she kind of struggles with that, but she also struggles with her own immortality, the fact that she has also passed away and how she kind of struggles with that. So it was a quick read, but it was very interesting. So you might want to pick that one up if that's kind of your thing. Then again, I'm trying to read short books after all those big, long, heavy ones. So I read Convenience Store Woman, and this is by Sayaka Murata, as a Japanese translated work. And also a weird book. I kind of you'll see a theme here. I've got some weird books this month. Also a very short read too. And it is about Keiko, and she works in a convenience store, and she has worked there for like 16 years, and her goal in life is to be the best convenience store employee anyone's ever seen. And she just loves her job and she loves working at a convenience store. But her friends and family are telling her, listen, you need to get an adult job and maybe get married and have kids. And she doesn't want to. She just wants her job at a convenience store. So it's really how that shapes her. And, really, I thought it taught us a lot about having pride in your work no matter what your job is. And so this was a really interesting read. I actually liked this a lot. I also read Galatea. This is by Madeline Miller, who wrote Circe and Song of Achilles, which is one of my favorite books. This is a really short read, like 50 pages. And I actually wished it was longer, but this is based on Pygmalion, and it's a man who carves his wife out of marble. She is a statue, and he's very, very controlling. And it talks a lot about misogyny and women's rights and things like that. I mean, this little book packed so much into it. I wish this was a 500-page book. So it was fantastic. Quick little read. I read it in 30 minutes, honestly. Then I read Tusk Love, and this was really surprising to me. I adored this book. It read just like a fairy tale. And we are following Guinevere, and she is the daughter of these merchants, and she has to go travel across the land to meet her betrothed, and he's a lord, and her family believes that if she marries this lord, it will raise their family status. And along the way, she meets up with some bandits who try to rob her, and then what is his name? Oscar. He is a half orc, and he comes and rescues her, and then he's going to help her on her journey. And they kind of fall in love along the way, but at the end he has to turn her over to her betrothed, and it's a beautiful love story. And I thought it read very much like a fairy tale, like a children's book, but there's a little bit of spice in it. So if that's your thing, you might really like this one too. Then back to my weird girl books. I read Sky Daddy. I was very intrigued by this and some of the reviews that I had seen about Sky Daddy. And in this book, we're following Linda. And Linda has an obsession with airplanes in a romantic and almost sexual way. And she believes that if she finds the right plane, then he will fall in love with her, and he can crash, and their souls can live in eternity. So she is obsessed with airplanes and riding on airplanes to find her perfect match, to find her soulmate in an airplane. And it's really interesting, but it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very satirical. I will tell you that if you are sensitive to flying or you have a fear of flying, maybe check your trigger warnings, because they do talk a lot about plane crashes in this book. But it is very funny. I love this one as well. Then I also read Annibot. And in Annibot, we're following Annie, who is a robot. And they have different kinds of robots in this, during this time period. And she is designed as a cuddle bunny. So she's really designed to be a companion to her Doug, her owner Doug. And Doug does such a great job of programming her and training her to be more human that she actually becomes more human than a lot of humans. And it taught us a lot about autonomy and, there's a lot of control. He's very controlling, obviously. I mean, he owns her, but, the way he punishes her for things that she might do is just not good. And so Annie kind of wants her freedom, but she is a robot after all. So fantastic book. I actually kind of teared up on this a little bit, and you find yourself rooting for the robot. Maybe, hopefully you do. I then read And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. This is the sequel to First Time Caller. And in this, we're following Jackson and Delilah. Jackson is a meteorologist at the radio station that was featured in First Time Caller. And Delilah is a meteorologist on the TV station across the street. And the two team up to cover this historic winter storm that's heading for the Baltimore area. And it's really sweet how they fall in love together, and they are so different in personalities. Delilah is this bubbly ray of sunshine, and Jackson is a very serious and straight-laced person. And they bring out the best in one another. And then this is my favorite book of the month, the biggest surprise of the month as well. And this was The Summer Storms by Sarah MacLean. Now, I had seen when this book came out, and it kind of pitches as there's some family drama. And in this, we're following Alice Storm. She is kind of the black sheep of her family. She's been kind of ousted from her family, who are very wealthy. They're billionaires, and the father passes away. So she is coming home to pay her final respects and attend the funeral and help with the family affairs. But she's been gone for 5 years. When her father told her to leave and not come back. In his final wishes, his father gives all of the family members and Jack, who's kind of his second in command in the company, he gives all of them little tasks that they have to complete, challenges that they have to do throughout this week. And along the way, they kind of learn a lot more about each other. A lot of honesty comes out, a lot of secrets come out. When this was pitched, it really talked about the family drama, which I don't like. I don't like books about family drama and anything angsty like that. But this one was done so well. It wasn't done in an icky way, and I really, really enjoyed this. If you've read Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings, very, very similar plots, but different enough that I would recommend this one as well. If you like that one, read this one. This was my favorite book of the month. It was my biggest surprise of the month. It's something that I can recommend to everybody because it's great if you like literary fiction, if you like romance. There's a romance in it. There's a little bit of mystery in it. It's just something for everyone. So this is one I would highly recommend picking up, These Summer Storms by Sarah MacLean. And those were the books that I read in the month of April. So I had a little bit of a variety of fantasy, romance, sci-fi, literary fiction. I don't normally do that. Usually I get one genre and I read a lot of it that month and then I move on to something else. But this month I really did mix it up. I took advantage of my library quite a bit. I have several books that are overdue and I need to get back to the library, but I wanted to film this video. And I just had some really great surprises. I mean, These Summer Storms is probably gonna be one of my favorite books of the year. There wasn't really anything that I didn't like this month. And, overall, I think I had a very good reading month. So tell me, did you read any of these books and what were your thoughts? What were some of your favorite books that you read in the month of April? And do you have any questions on some of these books that I read? And I hope you will subscribe and join us again next time. I've got some fun vlogs coming up in the month of May. And this summer, we're going to be doing our Summer Lovin' Readathon, which is a week of romance novels, getting you out of your comfort zone. If you're a romance reader, we're going to try some new things. So until next time, happy reading. Bye.